Andrew's face darkened. The cold aura emanating from him was 10 degrees lower than the cold air in the air. Charles was so cold that he almost turned into a block of ice. After a long while, he spat out one word. Woman. Charles was happy and continued to ask with no fear of death. Men like you who have a body of obsession with cleanliness usually have a crush on your first woman. What does it feel like? Andrew glared at him coldly. A project overseas needs manpower. Get out and support them for a month. Oh, Andrew, you can't be so cruel. Go there, immediately. Yes, yes. Charles left a sorrowful look and left like a gust of wind. The cold air around Andrew did not dissipate for a long time. Although it was his first time, he was sure that it was also her first time. This understanding made him inexplicably feel better. What did it feel like? He was addicted to everything that happens between him and Julie. A woman. No matter who you are, I will definitely find you. Julie, who was hiding in the hotel laundry room, sneezed inexplicably. She touched her nose and sighed that she was lucky. The room next door was empty. After running out of the balcony, she went straight to the laundry room. After casually finding a set of clean clothes to change into, Julie directly took out her mobile phone and edited a text message. 2003, come on, save me. She pressed the send button, and Julie's fingertips were almost trembling. In her previous life, she only found out later that Joe had not sent her a text message at all. The text message she had asked to send was sent by Joe's cousin, Ava Peter, secretly holding his mobile phone. She could only blame herself for being too silly and naive in her previous life. That was why she had fallen into someone else's trap so easily. Olivia, Ava, and Joe. In her previous life, she owed her a lot. In this life, she would get it back more and more. Now, it was time to start with Ava Peter. Esther. There was a okay on the phone screen. The corner of Julie's mouth curved into a smile, and she threw the phone directly into the trash can next to her. The reason why she sent this text message was very simple. Because Ava's father had an affair with her sister-in-law in this hotel. Every time Ava's mother went on a business trip, they would meet secretly. As for the room visa, it was the exclusive suite of Henry Peter. In her previous life, Julie had discovered this fact by accident. Julie wanted to see Ava, who was going to catch her with a group of reporters, finally catch her father and aunt. What should she do then? Just thinking about it makes me look forward to it. Julie went straight down the stairs and found a corner to hide. Soon, the sound of footsteps could be heard. Ava, Olivia, Malia, the hotel manager, the reporters, and a large group of people. Sure enough, they were on the same team. Julie, are you inside? Don't be afraid, I'm here. Olivia pretended to be very worried. Hurry up and open the door. The hotel manager hurriedly asked someone to open the door with the backup card. In the room, Henry and Elizabeth Dan were in a difficult position to make love and suddenly froze. They couldn't understand why the door was suddenly opened. Olivia rushed in first. Ava slightly followed closely behind, followed by Malia and a large group of reporters. The scene in the room stunned everyone present. Good heavens, wasn't that naked man the vice president of the Peter Group? Ava's father? And the woman lying under him was the famous superstar, Elizabeth. Ava's aunt? Damn it, what a big piece of news. The reporters raised their cameras without hesitation and pressed the shutter. This was definitely the headline on the front page. As expected, I didn't come here for nothing tonight. Olivia didn't expect it to be like this. She looked at Ava with a complicated look in her eyes. Ava felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She had never imagined that she would see her respected father and her beloved aunt. No, this isn't real. Ava stepped back step by step and kept shaking her head. You, don't take photos. Get out of here. Henry's face was full of shame and anger. Don't take photos, don't take photos. Elizabeth wrapped herself tightly in the quilt. If this matter was exposed, her acting career would be ruined. If anyone dares to leak out a word about what happened tonight, believe it or not, I'll make sure you won't be able to survive in North City. If you keep your mouth shut, you'll naturally benefit a lot. Henry threatened and lured them. The most urgent thing was to shut the mouths of these reporters as soon as possible. At this point, Julie didn't pay attention to it. With the strength of Peter's family, this matter would naturally be suppressed. However, she had achieved her goal. The matter between the two of them had been exposed by so many people. Even if Henry could seal one person's mouth, could he seal everyone's mouth? Walking out of the hotel, Julie stood on the side of the road and looked at the empty road, frowning. It was too late and the location was too remote. It was not easy to take a taxi. Suddenly, a red sports car stopped beside her. A few students got out of the car, talking and laughing. The leader was her classmate, Zara Mark. She didn't expect that another trouble would come knocking on her door. Zara deliberately shouted, "Julie, why did you come to the hotel in the middle of the night and make us look for you everywhere? Don't tell me you are doing some shady business?" "That's right. It's not a good thing to appear here in the middle of the night." Right. I didn't expect her to be such a person." The other students also echoed and accused Julie in unison. Julie glanced at her coldly. In her previous life, it was Zara who had called the Austen family and told them that she had gone missing. Hence, the entire Austen family had gone out to look for her. When she was surrounded by reporters, Zara and her classmates were laughing. Later, she went to school under the pressure. Unexpectedly, those humiliating photos were printed and thrown out of the teaching building. That was her most tragic memory. Julie suddenly narrowed her eyes and said coldly, "Shut up. I can sue you for slander." You. Zara had never been challenged like this. What's more, it was Julie, who had always been humble and submissive. Under the moonlight, Julie somehow seemed to be very different from usual. She knew that Julie was good-looking, but she always used thick bangs to cover most of her face. But now, she exposed her smooth and plump forehead, and her delicate face could be seen clearly. She wanted to tear her face apart. Zara gritted her teeth. You did something wrong. Be careful, or I will tell my father and punish you. Humph, if you are remembered again, you will be fired." Hearing these words, a cold light flashed in Julie's eyes. In her previous life, she had been expelled from the school. Her academic background in high school was her lifelong regret. Although she learned a lot when she was abroad, and those knowledge could not be compared with books, it was her dream to live a new life and get into the best school. No one could stop her. The Austen family couldn't do it, neither could Zara. Julie took the money and entered the pharmacy. After taking the emergency pill, she took a taxi and went home. Standing at the door of the Austen family's house, Julie was still very excited. She had really been reborn. She changed her fate. Julie took a deep breath and raised her hand to press the doorbell. Soon, the servant came out to open the door. "Julie, why are you back? Aren't you missing?" The servant looked stunned. Disappeared? Indeed, this was what her good sister had designed. Julie narrowed her eyes coldly and walked in indifferently. "Olivia, lie to Mark, one day, I will expose the true colors of you and your daughter." The servant looked at Julie's back in confusion. Why did Julie give her a different feeling today? "Elizabeth, who is it?" Ella, who was sitting in the living room, asked. Julie is back." Elizabeth's flustered reply came from outside the courtyard. "What?" Several people in the living room raised their heads in unison. Soon, a figure appeared in front of them. Looking at the person sitting on the sofa, Julie said softly, "Uncle, aunt, and cousin, I'm back. 6 years later, after a reincarnation, I finally came back and took back everything I deserved with my own hands." "You still know to come back? Where did you go to fool around in the middle of the night?" "It's a shame." Ella took a step forward, raised her hand, and was about to slap her, but was stopped by Julie. "Aunt, you want to hit me? What did I do? Why are you so angry?" Julie was calm. Ella was slightly stunned, and Jack Austen didn't expect it either. In the past, Julie would only take the initiative to admit her mistake. What happened today? This triggered her. She hurriedly said, "You didn't wear this set of clothes when you went out this morning. You must have gone to fool around with a wild man. You shameless BTCH." Julie turned to look straight at her, and there was no warmth in his eyes. He smiled and asked, "My good sister, I am shameless after I changed my clothes. Then why don't you go to the hospital to make up for the virgin?" Mia Austen was shocked. She didn't expect that Julie, who had always been timid, would dare to say such things in front of her parents. Looking at her father's gloomy face, she hurriedly defended herself. "Bitch, you slandered me. Uncle, I'm doing this for my younger sister's good. If others find out that she's so shameless, how can she marry into the family in the future?" Before Julie could finish his words, he was smashed by Ella's teacup. "You bastard, how ungrateful you are. You don't love yourself and slander your sister. I'll teach you a lesson." Julie raised her eyebrows and raised her hand to block it. The cup smashed directly on her head. Her head instantly bled, and the porcelain shard cut through her forehead. Aunt, do you also think that your sister is too embarrassed? But you can't smash her so hard. What if she is disfigured? Ella was busy treating her daughter's wound. Hearing Julie's gloating voice, she was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. However, she just stood there gracefully and looked at them as if she were watching a joke. Jack, look at this good niece. Julie, kneel and apologize to your aunt and sister. Jack's voice was not loud, but it was very threatening. Kneel? That's right, kneel, or you will be punished by the family. Ella sneered in a cold voice. Family rules? A cold light flashed in Julie's eyes and disappeared in an instant. In her last life, after the accident, her uncle and aunt had severely taught her a lesson in family discipline. The leather whip with sharp thorns hit her so hard that she was almost dead. Every whip was enough to split her skin and flesh. In the end, they threw her, who was in a coma and had a high fever, onto the plane and sent her abroad. Are you afraid? Kneel immediately and kowtow 3 more times. We won't argue with you. Looking at Julie, who was in a trance, Ella spoke again. Mia was a little proud. This bastard was alone. She didn't believe that her family couldn't deal with her today. Jack shouted, kneel. A sharp light flashed in Julie's eyes. She said coldly, Uncle, why don't you teach me how to kneel? How dare you? Jack slammed the table in front of him and stood up. With a crash, the table collapsed and coffee splashed in all directions. His face was livid. You're tired of living, aren't you? Come on, serve us according to the law of the family. 2 male servants came over with fierce faces. Julie did not move. Uncle, I heard that you have been fighting for a big project recently. If the Austen family abused you at this time. Jack squinted his eyes dangerously. Ella's face was full of anger. UBTCH, who abused you? You are an ungrateful person. How dare you slander us like this? Come on, teach her a lesson. Julie was not shocked. Aunt, the reporters nowadays like to catch the wind and catch the shadows. Think about it. Tomorrow, the media will reveal photos of my injury. What do you think everyone will say? Not everyone can control public opinion. As soon as she said that, Ella became angrier, while Jack was looking at the smiling and elegant woman in front of him. The bastard he had never looked up to threatened him in silence. Good, very good. After a long time, he ordered the servant, get out. Uncle, I lost my mobile phone. If others know that I can't even use my mobile phone, they will make a fool of me. Julie knew that people like Jack would never allow the enemy to give any excuses to attack at this critical moment. Sure enough, Jack glared at Ella coldly and then took out a card from his wallet and handed it to Julie. Thank you, Uncle. A cold smile appeared on Jack's face. You're tired. Go back to your room and have a rest. Julie replied with a cold smile. Good night, everyone. Before going upstairs, Julie rolled her eyes at Ella, which almost pissed her off. Mia glared at her back with a pair of eyes full of resentment. Julie went back to her room, closed the door, picked up the bathrobe, and went into the bathroom. When she raised her hand to untie the buttons, her slender fingers suddenly stopped moving. The bruises on her body were still obvious. Who on earth was that man? No matter who he was, she would find him and grind his bones into ashes. After taking a shower, Julie was about to fall asleep in a daze but was awakened by a heavy knock on the door. She lifted the quilt and rushed to open the door. She looked unhappy. Do you know that disturbing people's sleep is like killing parents? Elizabeth was stunned. She felt that her aura was very different from before. Her appearance did not change, but the aura from her body had changed a lot. Especially when she looked at her just now, she felt a chill in her heart. She hurriedly explained, Julie, Joe is here. Julie narrowed her eyes. At this moment, she was more than half awake. Joe is here? In her previous life, after the incident, Joe couldn't wait to come and break off the engagement. In this life, although he did not make a scandal, he came so soon. Very good, Julie sneered and said, I see. I'll come down soon. In the president's office of the Leo Group, Andrew sat on a pure black leather sofa, surrounded by a strong sense of coldness and desire. Sir, I'm sorry. I was negligent this time. Elijah took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice, the James family will announce bankruptcy soon. How should Albert deal with it? It was not Andrew's fault that he was angry. What's so hard for that bastard from the James family to do? How dare he drug Andrew? Fortunately, the woman arranged by the James family did not come at the last minute. Otherwise, he would have died. Doesn't he like to drug people? Then let him eat enough each time. Andrew said indifferently. Elijah nodded. Did you find out who the woman in room 2803 is? Andrew leaned back with his legs crossed, unconsciously exuding an air of nobility and laziness. Sir, I'm incompetent. I didn't find anything. Elijah summoned up the courage to hand over the file in his hand. Here are all the records of residence, as well as Julie's information. Andrew opened the file bag and glanced at the check-in record. There was nothing suspicious about it. 2802 was reserved by Ava, and 2803 was empty. His obsession with cleanliness made him have to clean himself up as soon as possible. Otherwise, that woman wouldn't have run away so easily. He casually flipped through Julie's information. The first page was about the introduction of her life. Her parents died early and she had lived in the countryside before she turned 16 years old until 2 years ago. Mr. Austin found her and took her home. It was written in the file that she was a coward. She wouldn't fight back if didn't scold her. The more Andrew looked at it, the stranger his expression became. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, it was hard for him to believe that the woman on the night before was Julie. The description in the document was completely different from what he had seen. Andrew looked at the last page, saying that Ava made an appointment with Julie and Julie entered the hotel. Suddenly, Andrew's phone rang. Seeing that it was a call from the old house, Andrew glared at Elijah and answered the phone. Sir, I didn't say anything. Elijah said. Andrew, what did the James family do to make you so angry? They even made a move at night. Mr. Leo asked anxiously as soon as the phone was connected. Andrew said, I did something wrong. Early in the morning, a subordinate came to report that the James family went bankrupt because Albert drugged Andrew and angered Andrew. That was why the two elders couldn't wait to call for confirmation. But with such an answer, there was no way for them to continue chatting. Andrew, I heard that you were drugged last night? Mrs. Leo went straight to the point. Andrew, yes. Mrs. Leo was so anxious that she almost died. However, after waiting for a long time, she heard a and got angry. You damn kid, can't you say one more word? Why are you so tired when talking with you? Do you want to kill your grandpa and grandma? Andrew, yes, the two elders of the Leo family. All right, I really only said one more word. Mrs. Leo took a deep breath. After hesitating for a long time, she asked the question that they were most concerned about. Andrew, was the person who was with you last night a woman or a man? Andrew's face darkened slightly. He almost gritted his teeth and spat out two words. A woman. Hearing this, the two elders of the Leo family almost cried with joy. Andrew was not close to women. He was already 30 years old and had never touched a woman. As a result, they began to doubt whether he liked women or not. Fortunately, it's normal for me to have a grandson. Perhaps soon, he would be able to hold a great-grandchild in his arms. Thinking of this, Mr. Leo's eyes were full of smiles. Andrew, you are a man. You must be responsible for her and bring her back for dinner when you have time. After hanging up the phone, Andrew looked down at the investigation materials in his hand and did not move for a long time. After a long time, he ordered, check Ava again. I'm going out. The meeting will be postponed to the afternoon. Elijah. Yes. Of course, Julie didn't dare to say these words. She could only complain in her heart. Finally, she said perfunctorily, then I'll treat you to dinner another day. Yes. Andrew took out his mobile phone and handed it to Julie. What do you mean? Julie couldn't keep up with the rhythm. Didn't you say that you would treat me to dinner another day? How can we contact each other? Oh, Andrew, I'm really sorry. I lost my mobile phone yesterday, and it's not time to do it. Julie told the truth. She was just being polite to him. How could she be serious? You want to buy a mobile phone and change your number? Hearing this, Julie bit the corner of her mouth and pretended to be calm and said, I didn't like that number before. I always wanted to change it. Do you have paper and pen on you? Andrew suddenly asked. Although she was confused, Julie still obediently took out a pen and a piece of paper from her school bag. 138 ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* President Andrew gave me his private number. About a kilometer away from the school, Julie recovered from the shock. Andrew, please stop here. After getting out of the car, Julie let out a long sigh of relief. She turned around and smiled. Thank you. Goodbye. The pale golden sunshine shone on Julie's body. Her skin was as white as snow, and her smile was sweet. Andrew only took one more look. Suddenly, he felt that something was stirring. Damn it, could it be that the drug didn't last? It was not until the girl disappeared completely that Andrew looked away and started the car. Anlin High School, the best high school in North City, was also the school with the highest degree of graduation, no exception. Those who could enter Anlin High School were all excellent students. Of course, it also included wealthy and powerful relationships. Without Mr. Austin's arrangement, Julie would certainly not be able to enter this school. He still remembered that the first day of the first year of high school was the school's joint examination. Julie, on the other hand, had less than 100 marks and all the scores added up. He was ranked last in the national rankings, which broke the lowest score in history since the founding of the university. For a time, Julie's name was famous all over the campus. Of course, she was absolutely the representative of a bad student. In fact, Julie's foundation was not bad. On the contrary, in junior high school, her grades were good. In the beginning, the mistake in the exam was because after listening to Olivia's words, she said that only the worse the exam was, the more attention the teacher and the students would pay. Later, the bad grades meant that she didn't want to study. She was excluded by her classmates and given up on by her teacher, which made her hate studying. At this moment, standing at the school gate, looking at the 4 big words, Anlin High School, on top of her head, Julie secretly made up her mind. This time, she must study hard. Student, could you please show me your school token? As soon as she was about to enter the campus, Julie was stopped by a voice. She turned around and saw the student named Tony Moore. If Julie had dressed like before, she would not have attracted others' attention. But she was so beautiful today and naturally became the center of attention. Wow, is such a lovely girl really in our school? Why haven't I seen her before? You didn't learn it just today, did you? Seeing that more and more people were watching, Julie took out her school token and handed it over. Tony took the school token cautiously. Although most of the girl's face was covered by bangs, the outline should be the same person. When he saw the name on the school token, Tony was shocked. Are you Julie? Julie took the school token and smiled faintly. Yes, I am Julie. Julie, how dare you come to school? A girl's voice sounded behind him. There was an inexplicable hostility. Julie turned around and saw Ava. Ava's eyes were obviously swollen. Julie, I have something to talk to you. Let's talk somewhere else. After that, Ava directly turned around and walked to the small woods behind the school, ignoring whether Julie agreed or not. Ava's followers almost drove Julie there. The woods behind the school dormitory was actually a small hillside, planted with many trees. The branches and leaves were luxuriant and no one took care of them, and very few students came here. Julie, where were you last night? As soon as they arrived at the woods, Ava crossed her arms over her chest and asked. At home, really? Ava sneered. Of course, but before I went home, I went to see Jason Ju. Julie said with a look of pity. Jason asked me to meet him last night, but unfortunately, I lost my mobile phone and forgot which room he was in. I couldn't get in touch with him, so I had to go home. Ava's voice suddenly became sharp. You lost your mobile phone? Yes. When did you lose it? It seemed that it was still there before I went out last night. Maybe it was lost on the road. Ava's face was gloomy. If she lost her mobile phone, who would send the text message? A little, I don't think she's lying. She likes Senior Ava so much. If there was no accident, how could she leave halfway? Ava's follower, Maria, whispered in her ear. Ava nodded. Indeed, this idiot could not even look away when she saw her cousin in the past. How could she leave halfway? Maria hesitated for a moment and then said, about Uncle last night. I think someone did it on purpose. Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental? By the way, who else knows about the trap set up by Julie last night? Ava was shocked. Damn it, I didn't expect that Olivia would dare to plot against me. Julie, I warn you. Stay away from Jason in the future. He won't marry you. After saying this, Ava left angrily. She was going to ask Olivia about it. Julie's eyes flashed. Although she had 100 ways to get revenge, she didn't mind watching them fight among themselves. Leaving the woods, Julie strolled in the campus. There were dense trees by the roadside. As the breeze blew, the leaves rustled. Walking in the familiar and strange campus and looking at the students coming and going around, Julie finally found the feeling 6 years ago. She was now a third-year student who was about to take part in the college entrance examination, not the miserable girl who traveled in the dark all day. While enjoying the beauty of the campus, she slowly walked to Class 8. Class 8, the class with the worst study in the whole grade. The moment Julie walked to the door, the classroom was strangely quiet for a second, and then there was a whistling sound. Beauty, what's your name? Are you a newcomer? Beauty, do you have a boyfriend? Julie ignored him and walked straight to the last row. At this time, a boy occupied 2 seats and was sleeping soundly there. Mario Leo, the school hunk of Enlin High School. Because of his good looks, rich family, and personality, he was very popular among students. However, his academic performance was indeed not very good, and he was definitely second to none, so he and Julie shared the same table. Julie knocked on the table and said, "Excuse me, classmate." Mario, who was sleeping soundly, was suddenly disturbed. Without raising his head, he roared, "Get lost." The other students in the classroom, especially the girls, were all gloating. "She's so pretty. I can tell at a glance that she's a foxy girl. How dare she seduce His Highness when she's just here? Look, His Highness doesn't care about you at all. His Highness is indeed His Highness. He's so handsome even when he loses his temper." In her previous life, there was no need for Mario to roar. Every time, Julie would obediently sit on the broken leg seat next to the trash can and stay far away from him. But in this life, Julie did not allow herself to live such a sullen life. She raised her voice and said, "Get up, please give way." Mario raised his head and couldn't help cursing. Suddenly, he was stunned. A girl who seemed to have walked out of the second world looked at him with blinking eyes. She just stood in front of him, under the bright light. Instantly, the whole world seemed to be lit up. He didn't know how to describe the feeling at this moment. His heart seemed to have been struck by electricity. "Hello, new classmate, I'm Mario." After being stunned for a few seconds, Mario came to his senses and stood up politely. His attitude was completely different from before. All the girls in the classroom, "Your Highness, what's wrong with you?" Mario looked around the classroom and asked Hudson, who was sitting in front of him, "Didn't the ugly woman come? Was she fired?" Hudson replied, "She should have been fired. I heard that she offended Zara yesterday." Julie. Needless to say, the ugly woman he was talking about was herself. Mario nodded. That ugly woman should have been fired a long time ago. It's not her fault to be ugly. It's her fault to come out to scare others. Julie. She came out to scare him. Mario said, "My new classmate, I don't know your name yet." Unfortunately, the ugly BTCH has been fired. Otherwise, you can see what ugly people do. Julie sneered. "Do you hate Julie so much?" Mario nodded. "Of course." Julie put down the book in her hand and said expressionlessly, "Sorry to disappoint you." Before Mario could figure out what was going on, there was another commotion at the door of the classroom. "Oh my God, what's the good day today? The goddess of our school is back. Senior Olivia is really beautiful. No wonder you've taken over the position of goddess even after graduation." At the door of the classroom, Olivia was dressed in a white lace dress, looking beautiful and delicate. Olivia used to be the goddess of Enlin High School. Although she had graduated a year ago, she was still very popular among the students. "Julie, come out," Olivia shouted to the classroom. The students immediately looked at each other. "Julie, have you come to school? Is that ugly woman here? Why didn't I see her?" "Yeah, I didn't see it. Did Senior Olivia make a mistake?" Mario's eyes swept around the classroom again. "I didn't see ugly people. Excuse me, she's looking for me." Julie stood up and walked out of the classroom. Mario was stunned. "Damn it, Julie, how was that possible?" The whole class looked at Julie's back in unison, and there was not only surprise but also surprise in their eyes. "Is she Julie? Am I seeing things? Who told me that I was dazzled? How did that ugly monster become so beautiful? Did she have plastic surgery? What hospital? It worked so fast, I want to go too." When Julie walked out of the classroom, she found not only Olivia standing at the door but also Ava and Maria. "Is she looking for me to confront him?" Julie looked at Olivia with a faint smile. "You still want to pretend to be a White Lotus?" She wanted to see how they would react after they exposed Olivia's true colors. "Julie, what did you say to Ava?" Olivia asked impatiently. Julie narrowed her eyes slightly. She didn't know if it was her illusion, but she always felt that Olivia was very feminine today. Was she nourished by Joe? Tisk, tisk, tisk. For some reason, Julie's expression made Olivia a little uneasy. Julie raised her eyebrows and asked with a smile, Olivia, sooner or later, Joe and I will cancel the engagement. You don't have to go after him last night. You didn't come back all night. Didn't you reach an agreement? The moment when Olivia heard this, her face suddenly turned pale and she looked at Ava in a panic. Although Ava was Joe's cousin, they were not related by blood, and Ava had liked Joe since she was a child. If she knew that Joe was her cousin, if she wanted to marry into the Peter family, there would be some variables. Damn it, why did this idiot, Julie, suddenly mention it? Sure enough, Ava's face suddenly changed. What did you say? Joe went to your house last night? They went out together? They didn't come back all night? Maria was also a little dumbfounded. Last night, no wonder Ava couldn't find him. Olivia, didn't you say that you left early at home? But, why are you with Joe again? When Julie heard Maria's words, she immediately looked flustered after saying something wrong. Her eyes flashed and she said, did I say something wrong? On the contrary, Julie's expression increased her credibility. The students sitting near the door of the classroom were all shocked. Follow Joe out? She didn't come back all night? Isn't Joe Julie's fiancé? Sooner or later, the engagement will be cancelled. Oh my God, what a huge amount of information. There must be something going on between them. For a moment, the students in the classroom had no time to read books. They all pricked up their ears excitedly, for fear of missing any explosive information. Julie, what are you talking about? When I got home last night, you were already asleep. Olivia denied it. She could not admit that she had spent the night with Joe last night. I told Elizabeth that if someone came to find me and said that I was not at home, who knew that she would lie to you? Hey, what's that on your neck? Was it bitten by a mosquito? Julie pointed at Olivia's neck. In her last life, after the accident, she almost died in all the rumors. In this life, Olivia should give you a taste of the power of rumors. Olivia covered her neck in a panic and stammered, oh, it's a mosquito bite. In this season, where did the mosquitoes come from? Ava's voice was cold. If she still didn't understand what happened last night, she would be a fool. Ava, it's not what you think. Olivia hurriedly explained. Olivia, I trusted you so much. You said that if you cheated Julie out, you would have a way to make the Peter family cancel the engagement with her. Well, I will do it. But what happened? The person in the room wasn't Julie at all, but my dad. My dad. Olivia, you made me so foolish, don't you feel very accomplished? Olivia hurriedly explained, Uncle's incident was an accident. I didn't know. Ava slapped on Olivia's face and said, it's an accident. You didn't send this text message. No one knows about this except you. Olivia covered her face and said, I don't know. Ava, you have to believe me. Shut up. Olivia, I'm telling you, don't even think about marrying into the Peter family. You'll be blessed in the future. After finishing her words, Ava turned around and left without looking back. Olivia, we won't just let it go. Leaving these harsh words, Maria chased after Ava. The students in the classroom were all stunned. They didn't expect to see such a wonderful drama in the early morning. Olivia looks so beautiful. I didn't expect that she would do such a thing. She's really a beauty. A wise man doesn't know his face and his heart. From now on, her fans have turned into black. A person like her doesn't deserve to be our goddess. I want to choose a new goddess. Yes, I'll choose a new goddess. Hearing the unpleasant whispers around her, Olivia was so angry that she almost went crazy. However, she could only suppress her anger and hide the malicious look in her eyes. Julie raised her eyebrows and said with a grievance, is what Ava said true? Why did you lie to me with her? Olivia forced a smile and said, Julie, how could I? How could I lie to you? Go to class first, and I'll explain it to you when we get home. After that, she left quickly. At this time, it was the right choice to say more and leave. Julie walked back to the classroom slowly. Ignoring the passionate eyes of the students around her, she returned to her seat with a poker face. The other students in the class were also not in the mood to read at the moment. It was rare for them to see such a wonderful drama, so they whispered to each other to exchange their views on this matter. Julie is really calm. Her sister stole her fiancé. How could she not be sad? She must be pretending. I don't know how many times she has cried in the dark. Yes, yes, she must be hiding and crying. Julie turned a deaf ear to the discussions around her. She took out her textbook and studied it carefully. It wasn't long before the college entrance examination. She had missed too much knowledge, so she had to complete it in a short time. In fact, she had a super strong memory. After reading a lot of knowledge, she firmly remembered it. In politics and history, she was not worried about these two subjects at all. In her previous life, she had been abroad for many years, so English was naturally no less important than words. The only thing that needed to be strengthened was mathematics. Julie took out her mathematics textbook and began to write down all the formulas. Mario, who was sitting aside, also took out his textbook and pretended to be reading a book. However, he unconsciously glanced at Julie. The sun shone through the window on Julie's face and on her long and dense eyelashes. She seemed to be outside the hustle and bustle, immersed in the sea of books. Mario was so obsessed with it. The class is over. Silence. At this moment, the young class teacher Emily Marcus walked in with a list of names. I'll start calling now. Lon Kane. Here we are. Julie Austin. Here we are. Emily looked at Julie with some surprise. She didn't expect that this damn girl would come to class today. It seems that I can't expel her for no reason. After the roll call, the class began. Although Emily was young, she was very rigid in class. Her emotionless voice made more than half of the students start to feel sleepy. Julie was one of them. Julie, how dare you sleep in class? You're hopeless. Get out of school immediately. Emily's angry voice woke Julie up. What are you waiting for? Get out of here. Emily pointed at the outside of the classroom and couldn't wait to leave. Julie sat there without moving. She raised the corner of her mouth with a faint smile, and there was a chill in her crystal clear eyes. Get out of school? Is there a rule that you will be expelled if you sleep in class? In her previous life, this was exactly what Emily had been like. She had often put on small shoes for her and would often humiliate her in front of the entire class. At this moment, she suddenly started to make trouble for her. It was obvious that she was targeting her. It seemed that many people had sent gifts to her. Seeing that Julie dared to talk back to her, Emily's face instantly became ugly. Julie, you dare to talk back to the teacher? You are simply hopeless. As she spoke, Emily looked at her with disdain. But no wonder. You're just an illegitimate daughter of the Austin family. You grew up in the countryside. You're just a wild girl. It's normal for you to have no manners. Emily's face was full of sarcasm. She directly exposed Julie's privacy in front of all the students. There was a burst of surprised whispers in the classroom. It turns out that Julie is an illegitimate daughter. I knew she was such a bad student. How could she enter Enlin High School? It turns out that she's also at the back door. Julie sat quietly in her seat, without any expression on her face. Mario, who had been paying attention to Julie, frowned slightly. No one knew if it was his illusion, but the moment Emily said that she was an illegitimate daughter, Julie's originally cold eyes were suddenly filled with coldness. For a moment, she had an illusion that they were in the same boat. Julie's cold eyes shot to the podium. It's just that you have no manners to talk back to the teacher. Then, as a teacher, you dare to insult a student like this, don't you have no manners? Professor Emily, I'm just learning from you. How dare you? Emily was so angry that she almost fainted. As a teacher, she was said to be immoral by his own students. This was the shame of her entire life. In the classroom, all the students were stunned. What the FCK? Julie said in public that the class teacher had no manners. She's so awesome. The atmosphere in the classroom was getting more and more tense, and it was almost time to fight. Mario frowned and could not help but speak. Teacher Emily, if sleeping in class means being expelled, then the 23 people who just dozed off will also be expelled. The law does not punish the masses. Teacher, I think you should stop wasting everyone's time and continue teaching. Emily said angrily, Julie, go to my office after class. I want to see your parents. Forget it. Since Mario has spoken, I'll let go of this damn girl for the time being. I'll have plenty of time to deal with her later. Meeting my parents? Julie frowned. Should I let my uncle come to school? They couldn't wait to be expelled. Emily took a deep breath and forced a smile at Mario. Boys and girls, let's continue with our class. Let's turn the textbook to page 58. Seeing that there was no good show to watch, the students below all looked disappointed. Soon, the bell rang after class. Julie was about to get up and go to the office but was stopped by Mario. He glanced at Julie indifferently and said slowly, Teacher Emily, I don't think it's necessary to call her parents. I'm Julie's boyfriend. I'll go with you to the office. For a moment, the whole classroom was surprisingly quiet. Everyone was stunned and looked at Mario. They couldn't believe their ears. When did Julie become His Highness' girlfriend? Julie was also confused. Boyfriend? What the hell is this kid talking about? Emily looked at Mario in surprise. Of course, she did not believe that they were male and female friends. One day ago, Mario hated Julie very much. But today, why did he help Julie again and again? However, if he insisted on helping, it would be a little difficult to expel Julie. After all, he was a member of the Leo family, who had the power to overthrow the capital city. Therefore, no matter what, she couldn't let Mario get involved in this matter. Mario, it's none of your business. Julie, come with me to the office. Mario raised his eyebrows. I'm Julie's boyfriend. Her business is my business. How could it have nothing to do with me? Julie frowned, and her eyes were cold. Mario, don't fool me. I have a fiancé. The school forbade early love. Once it was found, both sides would be remembered. If she were to be remembered again, she would definitely be expelled. Unexpectedly, Mario had dug a hole and was waiting for her. Mario's face darkened and he walked out of the classroom. You? I'm obviously helping you. Can't you see that? You're so stupid. You deserve to be expelled. Julie, call your parents immediately. As soon as they arrived at the office, Emily said arrogantly. Julie walked to the side nearby, thinking about the countermeasures in her mind. It seemed that if she didn't call her parents today, Emily wouldn't let it go so easily. However, if it was Uncle, even if she didn't get expelled, Uncle might have asked her to drop out of school on his own initiative. What should I do? Unexpectedly, she dialed a number. Soon, a cold and noble voice sounded on the phone. Nice to meet you. When she heard Andrew's voice, Julie came to her senses. Why did she call Andrew? Since she had already made the call, she had no choice but to force herself to ask for help. Hello, Mr. Andrew. I'm Julie. I'm in trouble at school. Even after hanging up the phone, Julie was still confused. Andrew said, Okay, I got it. Can't this big boss, who loves words like gold, say a few more words? Should I help her or not? Julie was completely uncertain. When Emily saw Julie making a phone call, her expression eased a little. Before your parents come, stand aside. Julie was still guessing what Andrew meant at the moment, so she didn't hear Emily's words at all. Julie, did you hear what I said? Seeing that Julie stood still, Emily immediately slammed the table hard. Teacher Emily, what's wrong? Why are you so angry in the early morning? Teacher John in the office asked curiously. You don't know that Julie not only slept in class, but also insulted the teacher in public and pestered other male students. I can't teach such a student no matter what. All the results added up to less than 100 points. Such a student does disgrace our school. A student like her should be expelled. In the office, the other teachers were chattering. Julie stood there, and her bright and clear eyes gradually cooled down. Just like in her previous life, all the teachers did not like her. It seemed that the Austen family had put in a lot of effort. Julie, I advise you to drop out of school as soon as possible. It's impossible for our school to keep a student with bad conduct like you. Emily sat there with a look of disdain on her face. Bad conduct? The corners of Julie's mouth curled up coldly. Teacher Emily, did you target me just because I accidentally saw you hugging the principal? As soon as Julie finished speaking, the whole office was silent. The other teachers were dumbfounded. Hold. With the principal? This bit of information was a bit too much. Julie, you are talking nonsense. Emily's voice was sharp, and she pointed at Julie with anger. I'm talking nonsense. Julie took a step forward. Teacher Emily, do you dare to take off the ring on your hand and show it to everyone? I seem to have heard from the headmaster that your names are engraved on the back of the ring. It was a coincidence that Julie knew about this. In her previous life, after the accident, she was drunk at a bar every night. Once, she accidentally saw Emily showing off her ring to her friend. Emily subconsciously wanted to hide the ring, but it was too late. Everyone looked at her hand with curiosity. Damn it, how did this BTCH know about this? Emily glared at Julie fiercely. Julie, how dare you slander your teacher like this? A slander? Julie glanced at Emily's hand, which had nowhere to hide, and said, Teacher, as long as you take off the ring, if it is a slander, I will apologize to you immediately and drop out of school immediately. Seeing what Julie said, the other teachers present all frowned. Teacher Emily, why don't you take off the ring? One of the teachers suddenly said. Emily turned her head and found that it was Teacher John who spoke. Last time, she had taken away the opportunity for her to go out for training, and she had always been worried about it. I can't take off the ring. If it were to be removed, the matter between her and the principal. If she didn't pick it, how could she shut everyone's mouth at this moment? For a moment, Emily had no idea. Teacher Emily, you refused to take off the ring. Could it be that what she said was true? Could it be that you and the principal? Teacher John said again, peeved. I was wondering why Emily became the head teacher after only being in school for 2 years. She must have someone behind her back. If she is ranked among the younger generation, she is far inferior. Listening to the discussion of other teachers, Emily couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. I can't panic. Emily tried her best to think of a solution. She knew that if she admitted her relationship with the principal, it would not only destroy her but also the principal. Fortunately, there were not many people present, and they were all teachers at the school. As long as the principal appeared, it would not be a problem for them to shut their mouths. As for Julie, who would believe a student expelled from school? Thinking of this, Emily suddenly slammed the table and stood up. Julie, don't think that you can change the topic just because you slander the teacher. Let me tell you, a student like you must be expelled. Who must be expelled? At this moment, a cold voice sounded, and everyone subconsciously looked at the door. A man was standing at the door, wearing a well-cut suit, giving people a strong sense of nobility and restraint, like an emperor. His whole body exuded a chill that prevented strangers from getting close to him. Julie stood there in a daze. She didn't expect that Andrew would come in person. The other teachers were also stunned. Andrew. Emily was the first to react and said in a panic, You, why are you here? Student Mario has been doing very well at school recently. You don't have to worry. Andrew's indifferent eyes swept over the crowd and finally fell on Julie. What's going on?